Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
And welcome to another edition of My Hometown. I'm your host, Bill Horan, along with Nassau Community College student Joe Ritter. Our special guest today is Robin Marks, Long Island Regional Director for Amber Court Assisted Living. Robin is highly knowledgeable on the regional and national issues that impact seniors and their families, and is an expert on Medicaid assisted living programs in New York State. Robin is an advocate of the Medicaid-funded assisted living programs known as ALP, which has made assisted living a viable option for thousands who previously could not afford it. In addition to a role as a board member of the Senior Umbrella Network of Nassau County, where she currently serves as program chair, Robin lends her expertise to a host of other New York State and local associations, including the Long Island Alzheimer's Foundation and the Long Island Coalition for Aging. Today, Robin will talk about how she works with families to determine if assisted living is the right option for their loved ones, what kind of activities and amenities and services are available in assisted living communities, and what are the options that are there to help to pay for assisted living. Robin, welcome to our show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Bill. Thank you for having me.
Now, tell us a little bit about Amber Court Assisted Living.
Amber Court has 4 locations. Right now, the only Long Island location is in Westbury, but we are slated to open in Nesconset in the fall. We're very excited. Amber Court is unique for a few different reasons. It's a family-owned business, and more importantly, it's family-run. The standards are very high, and the atmosphere is very personal. And they had a couple of objectives in assisted living. There are many that are geared for very wealthy people. Our goals were to provide a more affordable assisted living, which is a way of saying that we include more than most places. But beyond that, we're designed to be an aging in place environment. That simply means that we recognize over time most people have needs that increase and finances decrease, and we didn't want our residents uprooted at the most vulnerable point when they need more and have less.
Joe?
So how would you describe assisted living?
You could think of it as the union of someone's residential needs and their care needs combined under one roof in a social model. The social model is a key component. It's the reason all of us in assisted living have residents and nobody is referred to as a patient. And that's not just being sort of politically correct. It's actually a different mindset. We acknowledge that it's an aging population. We put things in place that are appropriate for health and safety and wellness. Once we cover those bases, we turn our attention to quality of life, and that's achieved through socialization. Just like your best times and mine are shared with family and friends, that will continue in our environment, but the programming is designed to be relevant for our generation that we're serving. Currently, as an example, if we were playing Name That Tune at Amber Court, the answers might be the Andrews Sisters, the Lennon Sisters, and in a few years from now, when it's my turn, I can only hope that the answers will be the Beatles, Stones, and Aretha Franklin, so I will know all the answers. But that's very important. When you're trying to think of an answer, it is oil going through the machinery, and just connecting is good for the soul. The whole model is designed to support and encourage independence, and that's assisted living in a nutshell with variations on the theme.
Robin, I'm going to turn this around. Joe, do you know the Andrews Sisters? Could you answer that question for $1 million, Joe?
You know what? Funny enough, I do know who they are.
You do?
Only them.
I told you
the others.
Smart.
I didn't know
he
them.
Really is smart. Okay.
Yeah, my dad kind of the old music. He's got me going on.
He's also a lot older than he looks, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, that's a different topic.
Robin. A lot of us hear about a nursing home. Now, how does assisted living, is that a step along the way? Is that like a progression? Someone goes to college before graduate school? Or where does that fit in?
That's a great question, Bill. It's all part of a continuum of care, but there are very big differences between assisted living and a nursing home. As I had just mentioned, assisted living is a social model, and there are residents who reside within that kind of environment. A nursing home is a medical model. And you can understand through that lens, you kind of become the sum total of your aches, your pains, your conditions, your diseases, not because they're bad, not because they're wrong or even unnecessary, but built into that design, it fosters dependence, really, which is what fuels my passion for assisted living. I think that even though there are great nursing homes, nobody should be going to one of those prematurely or unnecessarily. I'm an analogy person. You can think of assisted living really as a senior citizen hotel in terms of a lifestyle.
I like that.
And a nursing home is really a long-term hospital stay for all practical purposes. So we would all rather be a person than a patient. We would all rather be in a hotel than a hospital. And for all of those reasons, it helps my passion for Amber Court and the way we do things, because people can stay longer. We can't always avoid a nursing home experience, but we're always delaying it because of how much we can do in our environment.
That's a very good analogy.
It's a very good analogy. But
Thank you.
To go on that analogy, when would like the right time be then to check into the hotel or to go into assisted living? Is there like a point in your life where it just hits you, or is it something that that you develop into, or?
Well, Joe, considering your young age, I'm going to tell you it's not when you're annoyed with your parents. That is not
See, they
the
know
deciding
you. She
factor.
knows you. She saw that look on your face.
I always feel that when everybody's first choice is living at home, including my own. And when you are maintaining the ability to connect with the outside world and a nice quality of life, and as you get older, you're seeing your friends still and going to the senior center, it's right for you to be home. If it becomes increasingly difficult to connect with the outside world, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too hard to get out, it's too hard to manage maybe preparing meals or the shopping that goes before the preparation of the meal, well, then I would say if someone is having a hard time connecting with the outside world, it's time to bring the outside world to them. And that is really when assisted living becomes the right answer.
Now, Robin, for someone considering this, what's the best way to explore this option? Is talking to their lawyer, their financial person? What do you recommend stepwise?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that it's human nature to resist change. I don't think it's an age-related matter, actually. I think we all like or are comfortable with what's familiar. It doesn't always mean it's the right answer, and most of us are not living where we were born. So we do make changes along the way, and being this analogy person, I think of it as when we're in kindergarten, the desks are so high and the playground equipment is not going to be all that challenging to negotiate. It's going to be very, very easy for kids to stay safe while they're using that equipment. And you get a little older, you go into, these days, I guess it's middle school. In my day, it was junior high, and the desks are higher and the equipment is a little more sophisticated. And then we change buildings again when we go into high school. I don't think this is dissimilar. Our environments do need to change along with our ages and stages. And so assisted living becomes a good way to have needs addressed that might be taxing so that more time can be spent enjoying quality of life, such as activities and good care at your fingertips as well. So
now, Robin, I know Joe has another question, but I'm going to interrupt for a second just to ask you, if someone is listening and they say, wait a minute, this sounds like what I've been looking for my wife, my sister, my mom, how do they get in touch with you, and what is the procedure to be set up?
Well, I have to say the process generally, this goes back to your question kind of, Joe, it isn't usually started by the person themselves because of the resistance to change and because we don't always evaluate appropriately what's going on, and we're all used to just managing as best as we can. So it's hard to switch gears. Typically, it's the loved ones, the family members that are recognizing that their peace of mind is diminishing with each passing day, and that may drive the search for a new environment. Also, a person may wind up in a hospital or rehab, and sometimes families who were trying to honor their parents' wish to keep them in their home start to recognize, my mom has been a prisoner in her own home, basically, and we see a difference in her energy level, in her engagement, and kind of diminishing. And now she's been in this environment that put her in a dining room with other people or interaction with staff members, and she's coming alive again. And that's when they get the notion, perhaps, that maybe they shouldn't be taking it as gospel that mom belongs at home. And they may explore it themselves and try to increase their peace of mind. So that's a great way to approach it. I think that the family members and loved ones should explore it first.
Now, Robin, though, just I'd like you to let us know, is there a website or a phone number where they can get in touch with you?
I'm always happy to help. I always like to be considered a resource. Feel free to call me at 516-334-3838. That is the number to Amber Court. You would just ask for Robin Marks. Our website is ambercourtal.com. That's AMBERCOURTAL.com. That's not my Uncle Al. That stands for assisted living.
And because this is so important, and I'm sure many people listening say, I want to get that down. Maybe they're driving. We will give that periodically throughout the show. So if you have questions about this that aren't answered on the show, you can give Robin a call, and she seems very nice. I'm sure she'll talk to you a little bit. And if you know the Lennon sisters and the Andrews sisters, she'll talk to you for a long time.
So if a family feels that this is the right course of action, how would they feel? Like, how would they continue on with that? Like, after they've made the decision that one of their loved ones is right for this?
I always consider the heart of what I do to be matchmaking. I think it is really all about the right match. So if family members decide that this is worth exploring, the first thing they should do is maybe use the internet and some phone calls to determine what's going on in the community and make an arrangement to visit the community and see the population there and get a sense of, would my dad or mom fit in with what I'm seeing? And they should narrow the field because there's practical realities such as finances that have to be considered. And once they narrow the field to 2 or 3 good fits, that's when they should involve their parent in making visits.
Now, I don't know why, just when you were talking about that and you used the analogy of the hotel before, they get meals there, right?
Yes.
This is very important to me, this next question.
Yes, it's important.
Do you have cheeseburgers?
You can have...
Okay.
Not only can you have a cheeseburger, you can have it your way.
I can have it all right.
Yeah, rare, medium, or well done.
Joe, mark that down.
Yeah, we got to get that down right now.
I have to tell my wife when it's time. She'll be calling you. So long as you have the cheeseburgers, I'm in.
So in our environment, because as I mentioned before, we try to be good value, we include, no matter what room anybody would take, 3 meals, 2 snacks, laundry services, housekeeping, medication monitoring and supervision, shower assistance, and all of the on-premises activities.
That's really, that really takes
nice
a lot of the burdens away from
Yes.
the person so that they can enjoy these years.
Exactly.
Sounds like a good deal, Bill.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, what challenges do you find, though? Are people reticent about moving from their home? Are they afraid of a new social environment?
That's typically true, that people are not really embracing a change, especially for those who are living in the same environment for a long time. It is human nature to kind of be comfortable with what we know, but it doesn't, as I said before, make it always the right answer. And what I also find to be a challenge is, in the generation that we're currently serving, assisted living didn't used to exist. So there's no real frame of reference, and many people are visualizing a nursing home if they're not going to be in their own home, and this absolutely isn't. I encourage families, after they decide that we might be the right answer, or other communities, to actually not try to sell anyone about it and say, oh, how gorgeous and great, but to actually arrange the visit so they can see for themselves. And I notice right away when someone walks through our doors, they're relaxed because you could tell you're not in a medical environment. It does look like a hotel.
And certain places just do have that environment, and you just feel very serene, peaceful, and a whole lot better about the situation.
Exactly.
Robin, this has been a lot of great information, and I'm sure there's a lot more we want to learn, but at this point in the show, we want to take a brief break from my hometown on 90.3 WHPC. Our special guest today is Robin Marks, the Long Island Regional Director for Amber Court Assisted Living. We'll be right back after this brief intermission.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When hurricane winds are gusting? When floodwaters reach your door? Or a blizzard blocks all the roads? Or Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to nyc.gov.